Niner and Fee set up the E-Web repeating blaster half a kilometer from the front of the facility. That was pretty close. If anyone had spotted them, they weren't reacting.
Copy that,
Niner checked the chrono on the forearm of his left gauntlet.
Can you see the drainage cover yet?
The comlink crackled. Niner was yet again faintly pleased with himself that he decided to take that trip to Teklet. They'd never have stood a chance of pulling this off in comm silence. There were too many unknowns to do it by op order and chronosync.
I just followed the trail of crud and there it was,
Darman said.
Want to look?
Niner's HUD flashed up a grainy green image of huge dripping tubes that could have been a click wide or just a centimeter. Come to that, it could have been an endoscopic view of someone's guts. It didn't look fun either way.
What's above you?
Dirty square plate, and it's not a drain. The water's feeding down here from other pipes.
The image jerked as Darman's head lowered to look at his datapad. It threw up eerie ghost images of the building.
If they stuck to the blueprints, then this is a hazmat filter, and the maximum containment chambers are above it.
There was a scraping noise.
Yeah, the serial numbers match the schematic. If they had to hose down after a mishap in there, this is where the screened water or a solvent would come out.
Are you going to need to blow it?
Well, it doesn't look as if I can unscrew it with a hairpin. It's permacreated in place. It's not the sort of thing you want coming loose, I suppose.
Good timing for a spot of pyro at the villa, then. Let's sync that up.
Okay, give me a couple of minutes to set the charges.
2 minutes was a long time. Niner counted it down in seconds. He was aware of Etain pacing up and down behind him, but you didn't tell a commander to pack it in and stop fidgeting. He focused on Fee, who was kneeling behind the E-Web tripod, checking the sights, utterly relaxed. Niner envied him that ability. His own stomach was churning. It always did on exercise. It was much worse now. His pulse was pounding in his ears and distracting him. Darman responded 11 seconds late.
All done. I'll count you down. We're moving back out of the drain now. If we bring the outer chamber down, then we might take a little time to work our way back in.
What's a little time in your book?
Maybe forever. It might kill us.
Let's avoid that, shall we?
Let's.
Etain was hovering at Niner's shoulder. He glanced at her, hoping she'd take the hint.
You've never worked as a complete team before, have you?
She said unhelpfully.
No,
Niner hissed and withheld the ma'am.
You're going to do fine, she said. You're the best trained, most competent troops in the galaxy, and you're confident of success.
Niner was close to responding with a few words of pithy Huttese, but he suddenly saw her point. His stomach settled into a peaceful equilibrium again. He could hear Darman clearly. His drumming pulse had faded. He was perfectly content not to think how she had achieved that reassurance.
In 10,
Darman said. He still had his forward helmet cam patched through to Niner's HUD. He was scrambling through a tunnel. Niner had a sensation of rushing down a flume and half expected to splash into a deep pool at the other end.
5,
It went dark. Darman had his head tucked into his chest.
3,
Niner felt for the remote detonator.
2, go, go, go.
Niner squeezed the remote. For a fraction of a second, the landscape was picked out in brilliant gold silent light. Niner's anti-blast visor kicked in. Then the ground shook, and even at 2 clicks, the roar was deafening. It seemed to go on for several seconds. Then, he realized he was hearing 2 blasts, one at the villa and one below the facility. As the fire blazed and clouds of amber-lit smoke roiled into the air, the droids on watch outside the facility started reacting.
Hold, Fee.
Niner swallowed to clear his ears.
Da, Atin, respond.
was that us or you?
Both. You okay, Da?
Teeth are a bit loose, but we're fine.
Nice job with the custom ordnance, you two. I think the villa's got a new indoor swimming pool.
The chamber down here's holding. Just about. Going in.
Silence had fallen on the countryside. It was as if everyone was waiting for the next move. Fee moved the 5-pack of energy cell clips a little closer to him. Niner aimed his DC to get a better view of the front of the villa and saw droids milling around and an Umbaran officer with binocs scanning left to right across the fields.
Ready, Sarge.
Wait one.
A few more droids came out of the farmhouse door. If Niner hadn't seen the plans, he would never have believed what was concealed inside and beneath the convincingly shabby wooden siding. Etain stood to one side of him.
Ma'am, you might want to duck in cover.
"I'm all right," she said. She looked longingly at the Trandoshan concussion rifle. "Let me know when I'm needed." Darman's voice cut in on the comlink.
We're about to enter the drain cover,
He said.
Time for a distraction, Sarge.
Got it.
He knelt beside Fee and touched him on the shoulder.
Put a couple down a little short of that barn, just to say hello. Then, fire at will.
Fee hardly moved. The characteristic whoomp of the energy cell was followed by a ball of fire and a fountain of splintered wood. The barn rained back down, burning as it fell.
Oops.
Fee said. It got the droid's attention, all right. 6 formed a line and began marching down the field.
Roger.
Fee opened up. Niner could feel the roar of noise in his chest as droid shrapnel rained down on them and incoming fire whisked over their heads. A large chunk of metal flew in an arc. Niner heard it fizzing in the air as it cooled while it fell. He didn't see where it landed, but it was close. His night vision saw the sprays of shrapnel as brilliant white irregular raindrops. A few tinnies were getting through. Niner picked off 2 with the grenades. The next rank of droids advanced. Fee was firing in short bursts. Niner picked off whatever was still standing. Hot metal shrapnel continued to rain down on them. At the E-Web's rate of fire, he was going to run out if he simply hosed them, and they were only minutes into the engagement. They dropped around 20 droids. That meant 20 more inside the facility at least. Then, the tinnies stopped coming. The field fell silent, and it rang in Niner's ears as loudly as the cacophony of battle.
I hate it when they work out what's happening.
Fee said. He was panting from the effort.
They'll sit tight.
If it's just 20 or so in there, I say we go in now.
Let's make sure we haven't got guests arriving.
Niner opened the long-range comlink.
Majestic. Omega here. Over. Majestic.
Receiving you, Omega. That was some fireworks display. Got trade for us?
Majestic. Extra target for you. Have you got a visual between targets Greenwood and Boffin?
If you've got a remote you can patch us into.
Niner slipped off his pack and took out a remote, releasing it into the air.
Droid's estimated strength no more than 50. If they're heading towards us, do me a favor and spoil their day, will you?
Copy that, Omega. Sit rep.
We've breached the facility, and we've got 20 or 30 droids and an unknown number of wets holed up in there.
Say again.
2 of our squad are inside. Ingress via the drainage system.
You guys are off your repulsors.
The thought did cross our minds.
Okay, some fireworks coming your way, Omega. Be advised, we still have a Techno-Union vessel standing off and we're expecting a response when we train the lasers.
Watch how you go,
Niner said.
Omega out.
Apart from the ticking of cooling metal, it was silent. Even the chatter and whistling of Kilara's nocturnal species had stopped. Smoke was billowing across the field from the wrecked barn.
You okay, ma'am?
Fee said. Niner glanced around and expected to see Etain in some state of distress, but she wasn't. She was kneeling in the grass, alert, as if listening to something. Then another huge explosion shook the ground to their north. She closed her eyes.
Ma'am?
She gave a little shake of her head as if loosening stiff neck muscles.
It's fine, she said. It just took more out of me than I imagined.
What did?
Diverting all that debris. Droids make a terrible mess when they explode.
Niner hadn't a clue what she was talking about. It was only when he turned around that he saw the meter-long jagged sheet of metal right behind him. It had almost given him an unwanted haircut. Etain managed a grin.
Can you open doors as well, ma'am?
Niner asked.